Well, hello, Lisa. What you doing here, hey?
I told you not to do accents, didn't I?
I'm sorry. It's Doctor Who and the Enemy of the World.
Yes.
Episode 1.
Yeah, no gimmicks on this.
No, it just says that. It's
says one.
just straight,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm still amazed we've got this episode in our house.
Twice.
Yeah. Episode 1 we've got on...
Actually, no, about 3 times.
At least 3 times, because we've got the audio copy.
Yeah.
We've got the original release from, 2013, wasn't it? There we go.
Was it 2013?
I think it was. Yes, there we go. And then we've got the later...
Special edition.
Special edition. So, how amazed were you when it was recovered?
Well, I'm going to be very honest and say, when I heard it had been recovered, I was a little disappointed. It wasn't a different trouser, because having only seen episode 3, I didn't think much of it.
No. Okay.
When I actually came to watch it properly, episodically, I realised it was actually
Just
a really good story.
How bloomin' good it is.
Yeah. Particularly sort of episode 4.
But that's the thing. I mean, you know, it's a few years now it's been available. But for me, for most of my life, The Enemy of the World was one of those utterly unknown stories. Yeah. And, you know, I first started getting really into fandom in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And if you look at the list of surviving episodes for season 5,
it was very little.
Tomb of the Cybermen didn't exist.
No.
The Ice Warriors didn't exist. Enemy of the World only existed in episode 3.
Which is the dullest episode.
Web of Fear only existed with episode 1. And I remember when the Abominable Snowmen episode 2 was found.
Abominable Snowmen.
That's what I said.
Okay.
And when the Wheel in Space episode 3 was found. So really, I remember a time when it was only like Wheel in Space 6, Web of Fear 1 and Enemy of the World 3 that existed. Three single episodes.
Yeah.
So season 5 is very much the success story of recoveries for me.
And any Troughton is good Troughton.
Oh yeah.
It was just, you know, it was a bit of like, when it was recovered. But I hold my hands up, I was wrong. It's a good story.
It's a very good story. And even with the telesnaps, I don't think it helped, you know, marry up the surviving audio. Because I'd listened to the audio a few times, and our friend Nick always used to say how good the story was. And even with the audio and the telesnaps, I never quite believed him.
No, Nick's a real fan of it.
This episode 1, when we watched it for the first time, I just almost sat there with my gob open as to how good it was. Because that opening sort of, was it 10 minutes or so on film?
Yeah.
It's very unusual to have a story in the middle of a production block which has got this much film thrown at the first episode.
Yes.
Because, you know, you get things like Dalek Invasion of Earth or Abominable Snowmen, but they're at the start or the end of a production block, so there's time to do it. Or like the Smugglers as well. Yeah. This is plonked in the middle of the season 5 run, and we've got the old location book again, and all this for episode 1 takes place between the 5th and the 8th of November 1967. There's a lovely little piece in the local newspaper, the Littlehampton Gazette, where the Roy Arbor writes it in the 11th of November edition. I don't know whether the Martians had landed, were about to land, or were going to land. I don't even know if the Martians were involved. But this was the first episode of the next series of Doctor Who. Next series of Doctor Who. It's the next story of Doctor Who.
Yes.
It takes place in 2018. So you got that right.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah.
And West Beach is supposed to be Australia, although it still looks cold.
It does look cold, yes.
And you have got Patrick, Debbie and Fraser only sort of turn up for one day's worth of filming, basically.
Well, busy.
Yeah, so they're busy doing the Ice Warriors. But yeah, so some of the long shots are Peter Diamond, Richard Halifax, and Sarah Lismore, who's the wife of the PA Martin Lismore.
Yes.
We'll talk about Martin in another episode because it's important to talk about him. Now, according to the book here, and it's not mentioned on the production notes,
Yes.
but the book claims that for one long shot of the Doctor climbing into Astrid's helicopter, Troughton was replaced by director's assistant Patricia Stern. And as I said, that's not referenced on the production notes.
No, so that may have proved not to be right.
If that's
True.
you know, if that's been overwritten by more recent research, fair enough.
Yeah, 'cause this book is a few years old now.
But it never really stuck in my mind that reading the book, according to that bit of information at least, that's the first time Doctor Who may or may not have been played by a lady.
Yes.
Queer, isn't it? But still called Pat.
Yes. Only
Patricia.
Pats were allowed to be
only
Doctor at
Pats
this
were
point.
allowed to be Doctor Who. Didn't matter if you were a Patrick or a Patricia.
Yes, a boy or a girl. You have to be called Pat.
But there we are. Anyway, it's the 23rd of December 1967. Christmas is very much on the horizon.
Approaching.
This is a good example of a story where they haven't quite got all the scripts ready when they come to do it.
No.
And yes, I mean, sort of Terence Dicks says about how when he sort of came into the work on the show, the scripts were always a problem just to get anything
on screen.
And you'd often have production meetings where they'd have like episode 1 and then they'd have to tell you what the rest of the scripts were going to be.
This is what's going to happen. We haven't got a script yet.
Yeah, but this is probably what's going to happen. So the draft script says we're on a beach full of holiday makers and there's an amusement arcade and like none of this happens on screen.
Somebody gets their red pen and goes, no,
can't afford that, no way. But
cold looking
make it a deserted beach and then we can
more
afford
atmospheric
it.
Anyway.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you've got a helicopter and a hovercraft.
Well, that's how you can pay for it, by not having all the extras.
So you have either one or the other.
You can have the extras. You can have a helicopter and a hovercraft.
Yeah. And frankly, all the hovercraft and helicopter stuff really makes it unusual.
It does.
Even for season 5, I think. We say about the John Pertwee era.
Yeah.
You get these ridiculous chase sequences with vehicles.
Yeah.
But Barry Letts is laying the foundations for it here with all this stuff. You've got the characters whose names sort of changing for like Anton, Tiber, and Otto, and then they become like Curly and Rod, which just does sound like it's the Three Stooges, doesn't it? Or even the Robonic Stooges.
Robonic.
The Robonic. No, it's the Robonic Stooges. That's
nice.
One for Tim Worthington.
Okay.
You look it up. It's a
I won't.
cartoon series. But yes, something for the ladies as you get to see Doctor Who in his undies.
Yeah, in his long johns.
Did you appreciate the look of that?
No, because it's shot in extreme long distance, and it's just long johns. It's Pat Troughton in long johns.
But he throws all his clothes off, runs into the sea, piddles about for a bit, comes out again, and immediately puts his clothes on again. Yeah. He'll catch his death doing that. All his long johns are going to be all wet and dripping and droopy, aren't they? No wonder he can't run right in this. He's like his crutches like down below his knees because it's like probably woolen and it's like it's ridden down with wear, isn't it?
It's got all baggy.
It's all baggy. I like the fact we're at Cape Arid, which is actually a real place, but it sounds like it's a Terry Nation place, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like
it'd be more arid.
Iridius, yes. But yeah, we've that in that shot of the helicopter taking off, as it just draws back and back and back and back and back, and as you said, Fred Hamilton is a bit of a loony at this point, the film cameraman.
Yeah, because he's perched
he's
on
hanging
the
out of the
runner.
helicopter.
Yeah.
You would not be allowed to do that.
No, you wouldn't. Well, you might be, but you'd be strapped in for all you were worth. Yeah.
And what was it? Barry Letts is being used as ballast
on the other side. Yeah. Yeah.
Just to.
And then there's another shot later on when the helicopter takes off again, and the cameraman, who's probably Fred Hamilton again, is laid flat on his back as the helicopter takes off almost directly above him.
Because that's one of the images that's quite well captured in the telesnap.
Yeah.
So I always remember that as being. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff doesn't even come across in the telesnaps how good it is.
No.
Because I remember one of the few sort of publicity photos for episode 1 is Astrid and the helicopter, and that was used in like sort of the first sort of DWM sort of write up of the plot of the episode, and I do remember that sort of image. But it's weird to think this is now a historical story because it's set in 2018.
Yes.
And that's so weird, isn't it? Because there used to be an argument about what year was it actually set in.
Yeah, because her registration runs out in December 2019.
But that's only visible on the video.
Yes.
Yes, it's mentioned in that newspaper report, but I think the novelisation or something, it was people were thinking it was 2030 or something like that. So, and yeah, that does seem perhaps a bit too futuristic. But what do you think of like 2018 that's depicted here? Is it anywhere near the mark
not
of 2018?
No,
not really.
It's a 60s version of 2018, isn't it? With the phones and everything.
Yeah. I like the notes on the production notes saying about if you've got blood, you didn't use tomato sauce.
No, use chocolate sauce. Because it shows up better in black and white.
Because it looked better. Yeah. But I do like the scene with Astrid and the Doctor. Astrid, of course, being an anagram of TARDIS.
Yes.
Though nothing is ever made of that. The thing about Doctor of Law or Philosophy or Divinity. And that really felt to me like a David Whittaker scene. There's something about sort of when David Whittaker writes character stuff. It's quite unusual, sort of some of the sort of paths he goes down, and I like that. Sort of Troughton definitely seems to like her, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, because she says he's the most wonderful man to have dropped out of the sky, and he's sort of I do anything.
Yes, he gets all sort of Yeah, but that's perhaps a reaction or. In relation to Patrick Troughton, who very much liked the ladies.
Yeah, that is true.
And the second Doctor is a more charming character. He's a bit more sweet than the first Doctor.
I mean, the production notes make sort of play of the fact that Astrid is sort of in the sort of Avengers lady line.
Yes.
And what do you think of her as a character? Is she quite good for this period of the show?
Yes, she's quite strong.
Yeah.
It's nice to have such a strong female character.
Yeah.
And this is following on after the Ice Warriors, where you get another strong female character in Miss Garrett, is it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Actually, this period of Doctor Who is good for female characters.
Yeah.
Because
then you've got Anne Travers as well.
Yeah, you get Anne Travers. You'll get I've forgotten her name in The Wheel in Space.
Yeah.
When you get Zoe, and you've also got the Doctor, haven't you? There's a lot of strong women in Troughton Doctor Who.
Do you think the Troughton era actually is a bit better for strong women than the Pertwee era?
It is.
Yeah.
It is better for strong women.
Yeah.
Yes, because they're more able to stand up for themselves in the Troughton era.
It's just interesting, isn't it?
The trouble in the Pertwee era is that John Pertwee's Doctor is very patriarchal. So
and he sort of takes over a bit.
He takes over, and he's a bit patronising.
Yeah.
His character is patronising.
Is it just to women or just to humans?
To humans in a way.
Yeah, and ministers.
And ministers. He's quite respectful of Liz.
Yeah.
But yes, and we're going completely off subject. We should get back to Patrick Troughton and talk about John Pertwee when we get to John Pertwee.
Yeah, all right, we will do that. But but the thing about Astrid being a strong leading character who then doesn't turn up in the fight in the first drafts of the last couple of episodes, and they hurriedly have to rewrite it.
And Mary Peace Sadness went, well, you can't have her then.
Yeah, if she's not in it,
she's got to be in all of them or like none of them. So.
One thing I have to say about her though, she's got the most garish wallpaper in the universe, hasn't she?
Yes.
Each wall has got
it's a different
horrible 60s wallpaper that would do your eyes in, wouldn't it? And it does. You said about the Ice Warriors, because in the Ice Warriors they've got all these swirly patterns on their clothes.
It's a real 60s thing to have bright, well not bright because it's in black and white, but to have bold patterns
and
things.
designs,
Yeah.
and this definitely is on show in the wallpaper here.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got the helicopter blowing up, which happens again in the Demons, and then enter Bill Kerr.
Yes.
And I love Bill Kerr, but this is rare for me to actually be able to see Bill Kerr doing a serious part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because to me, Bill Kerr is obviously Hancock's half hour, and he's fantastic in this.
Yes.
But it's just weird to see him for me.
He's extremely good, and considering he's predominantly known as being a comic actor, he's fantastically good at the serious stuff.
Yeah. So I think again, as with like sort of Bernard Bresslaw, you are offering serious parts to comic actors. So people moan that sort of J&T in the 80s would offer parts to people known for light entertainment, but
it's been doing it for ages.
There's nothing unique about that.
I mean, the thing about offering sort of Bill Kerr a part is almost equivalent now to offering like Harry Hill a part as a serious character. Yeah. I mean, because obviously you've got Peter Kay. We're going off subject again. Peter Kay in as the Absorbaloff. Yeah. But that character is particularly. And I can't remember the character's name now, but it's played a little bit for laughs.
It is more of a comic part,
So to get somebody,
Bill Kerr is straight down the line serious, isn't he?
He is. He's very good.
I like the fact that you're linking all the stories together, because there's a line about on ice.
Yes.
And later on, there's the line about a disused jetty as well.
Disused jetty.
Yeah.
Yes. And that links into the next story, of course.
But so we get to see our first sight of Troughton as Salamander. I like the line about Troughton about he's remarkably handsome, and Jamie sort of nudges him a bit and finds that funny. Yeah, I mean, there's the whole accent thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and even at the time they sort of took the piss of it.
Yeah, they sort of went, "You're not doing that accent."
Is he meant to be Welsh? Yeah. Because you always say about my
your accent's not great. I have to say, for an actor of his calibre, this accent is fine. It's South American of some kind, not necessarily Mexican, but he's in an episode of Colditz, Patron, and I do not know what accent he's trying to do, because every scene he's in is different.
Is it Irish or Scottish or
Irish,
something?
Scottish, Welsh,
all over
the place.
The line about 10,000 robot harvesters struck me as being quite a few.
Yes.
But I did think about there's a I think it's the first episode of the computer program. There's a shot of some combine harvesters that are being operated by remote control. So that's the early 80s. So like robot harvesters is quite a forward thinking thing.
And I'm sort of thinking about it. I'm thinking of Kablam and how the robots are doing all the sort of jobs in Kablam.
Okay.
So.
But
sorry, Kablam.
First story to be done in 625 lines.
Even though they showed it in 405 lines.
There's some evidence, I think, that possibly the odd episode before that had been recorded using 625 line equipment, but this is the first full story,
full official story,
and I've never quite got to the bottom of where we're sort of our belief about that. I think if you look at like sort of some of the production codes for recordings, there's possibly Power of the Daleks last couple of episodes or something like that, because there's all these codes used on the recording, like 625T for tele recording and things like that. But I really need to look that up, but let's not get bogged down with that now. But yeah, Troughton trying to say guaranteed. And what's great about this story is you've got Troughton playing the Doctor.
Yeah.
You've got Troughton playing Salamander.
Yes.
But then you've also got Troughton playing the Doctor playing Salamander.
Yeah,
and indeed Troughton playing Salamander playing the Doctor.
Yeah.
And I love the way that they're all subtly different.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great actor. Don't get me wrong, my little dig aside.
Yeah.
Patrick Troughton is a great actor.
And to be able to juggle all those...
it's very hard.
To
keep in your head at that particular
which one am I being
and
then which one am I trying to do?
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's this thing about how good an actor is the Doctor.
Yes.
And how good an actor is Salamander as well.
And the answer is they're both quite good.
Yeah. So he goes off. He manages to find some clothes that fit.
Yes.
It's
funny that. It's always the way.
That's lucky. And enter Colin Douglas.
Colin Douglas, who
Yay.
is, as always, fabulous. Yes.
So, and again, he's one of these people that just can immediately walk into a scene
And command it.
and make an impact.
He commands the scene. Because, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say anything about later episodes, but at the moment, he's very much the bad guy.
Yeah.
That might not say the same all the way through.
Yeah. But I just wrote down, "Hello, Bruce," and it is one of those things that I quote
Yes.
badly.
Badly,
I know,
yes.
but Warren does it as
It
well,
does,
doesn't
yes.
it?
Yes.
And this is really based on episode 3.
Yeah.
We've been quoting it for like 20 years,
Yeah.
you know, not since it was just found.
More than 20 years.
Yeah, I know, shush. But yeah, Bruce comes in, you know, out comes Troughton, pretending to be Salamander. Bruce gives him a quizzical look, doesn't he? And for this episode, it just says Doctor Who Patrick Troughton.
Because he's not technically played Salamander for longer than a few
But
seconds.
he's had speaking words as Salamander.
yeah,
Later
but-
on, you get Doctor
Yeah.
Who stroke Salamander,
Yes.
don't you? But this is I just couldn't remember whether episode 1 he
No,
gets the
no,
credit,
it's just Doctor Who,
but he
this one.
doesn't. Later on, he will. But that's a fantastic setup
Yeah.
episode, and it, again, we said about the War Machine zipping along, but so
It really does.
so does this.
It really does.
I think the decision to do those first 9 or 10 minutes on film really, really pays
Yes.
off.
Yes.
And I think, you know, Barry Letts said he was, as a sort of young director, he was keen to make an impact.
Yes.
And it's funny because there's this thing about Ambassadors of Death where you had that whole helicopter sequence in episode 2,
Yes.
and Michael Ferguson blew a lot of the budget
Yes.
getting all this sort of fight sequence, helicopters, explosions, motorbikes, and Barry Letts had to tell him off. And his argument was, as the director, I was doing my job, and it's your job as the producer to tell me when to stop.
Yes.
He's almost Barry Letts is doing the same thing here, isn't it?
It's not quite so extensive.
Not quite so bad, but
No.
I do find it funny
Yeah.
that within a couple of years, Barry Letts is going to be sitting in
Yeah.
a different seat
He's put his producer's hat on and gone.
and going, "Oh
God."
no, we spent all the money."
Yeah.
So, being able to see this first episode is a lovely little.
And it's really a shame that Barry Letts didn't get to see it, because I know he felt that he didn't do great work in this story.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
I
wish
thi-
he'd been able to see it to see that he actually did.
Well, I think again, it's because it was only episode 3 that
Yes.
existed, and
Yes.
he was willing to admit that that's probably the least interesting
it's the dullest
episode.
episode, but it's the middle. The middle episodes are always. In fact, it's only episode 3 in this one that you get that, because in episode 4 the
It
story
goes
takes
off,
a new
and
turn.
we'll talk about these when we get to them.
But
yeah.
episode 3, it's the padding.
Yeah.
It's with the plot can't really go forward, so we're just treading water. But you do get Griffin the chef.
Yeah.
So
But so glad to be able to see
yeah,
episode 1 and to be able to see the rest of the story as
It's
well
fantastic.
is amazing.
Yeah.
I would have been happy with episode 1, frankly, but to get the rest. And so we'll see where this goes in the next
we will.
few weeks.
Yes.
And we've got our spin-off decision, haven't we, about a
We
show
have got
we're
a
going to
spin-off
do
decision. We won't be
with
doing
a
it
guest
until
star
after
from
episode
this story,
3, which gives you a clue as to
as
who
to
it
who
may
it might
be.
be. Okay, see you again then.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.